replace the transmission in the fire department 2017 Chevy Tahoe Chief 2 vehicle from the following: Denville transmission, 6,500 with a 3-year and a 50,000 mile warranty. TRM transmission in auto, 6,500 with no warranty. Schumacher Chevrolet was $13,138.58. That a purchase order be issued to Denville Transmission, 370 East Main Street, Denville, New Jersey, in the amount of $6,500. Having received quotes to replace the drain valve at the Community Park pool from the following: Webster Plumbing and Heating, Inc., $5,900. Cullen Plumbing, $7,203. That a purchase order be issued to Webster Plumbing, 8 West Main Street, PO Box 529, Brookside, New Jersey, in the amount of $5,900. Jamie Cooper be hired as part of Time Recreation Director at an annual salary of $12,000 and Recreation Commission Secretary at an hourly rate of $22 an hour in the Recreation Department effective March 20th, 2025. 25. Why 26?
March 26th.
Oh, March 26, 2025. The Borough Council approved the excused absence of Chris Shea, Fire Prevention Chief, to attend the multi-county fire prevention meeting on April 3rd, 2025 at the Hanover Manor, and 2 educational seminars on May 20th and May 30th, 2025 at the Morris County Fire Academy, 400 West Hanover Avenue, Marsh Plains. Borough Council authorized the release and return of engineering review and inspection fees in the amount of $622.60 to Savina Robertelli, 2 Park Way, Marsh Plains, New Jersey, for road opening. Number 1007 for the Borough Engineers Correspondence dated February 18, 2025.
Tyler, just what, do you know the 2 educational seminars that he's going to?
For Chris?
Yeah.
I can find out, I don't in front of me, but he did send me an email.
It's part to maintain his license.
Yeah, it's continuing education essentially, I don't know
He has to take them to continue what he's doing. For certification, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I don't know the exact class, but it's part of the CD.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Nancy, roll call please.
Mr. Cortese,
Abstain.
Mr. Bruhn,
Yes.
Mr. Easton,
Yes.
Mr. Ivey,
Yes.
Mr. Pontier,
Yes.
Ms. Verga.
Yes.
This time I'd like to welcome all the public for coming out tonight and wish everybody a belated St. Patrick's Day. And invite anybody up wishing to speak. Come on up. State your name and address, please.
Kathy Khan, 28 Hillview Ave.
Hey Kathy.
Thanks for coming. Gonna try this again. This is a follow-up, that's why I'm here tonight. I was here back on November 14th. In regard to Article 5, 22-5, limiting use of streets to certain vehicles, trucks excluded from certain streets, 8 are listed. I had asked at that time if both Hillview and Rosedale could be added on to that ordinance, and I just wondered if there was any discussion either way with that. This was all, at the time, pre-McDonald's. Now that we know that that's going through. I think this is even more important. The increased traffic, use as the cut-throughs, all of those things that I mentioned back in November. I also did a little strategy within our 2 streets in reviewing things. Just on Hillview alone, there are 17 homes. On Rosedale, there are 12, so 29 homes in those 2 blocks. And the number of kids, I actually found astonishing. There are 11 kids alone on Hillview, and there are 9 over on Rosedale. So 20 kids, age 18 years and younger. That's a lot of kids. And another reason why I just would like to see this proactively done.
Good thing to have a nurse in the block.
One of us, anyway. So that's why I'm here. If there was any discussion or you made a decision or.
So I know they're having a safety committee meeting coming up, is that correct, first of all, or did it happen?
Traffic committee.
Traffic, yeah.
Yep. That'll be in my report.
And then the ordinance committee, I don't know whether you looked at it
Yeah.
or not.
So we've been, I'm sorry,
So, yes, we've been looking at some of the ordinances. The truck one specifically, is on my list. You'll hear that, tonight in my report that I'm proposing some changes to some ordinances. But I'll put that one on my list and we'll take a look at it. So just to, be clear, it's Hillview and Rosedale. Those are the two streets, okay? And it was,
Hillview,
sorry,
Hillview and Rosedale.
Hillview and Rosedale,
Yeah.
right? Okay. And it was Article 522-5, that's what you were referencing? Okay,
Article 5, 22-5.
excellent. Okay, that gives me all the info I need. The ordinance committee will take a look at it and then we'll come back, with, our response.
Okay,
So,
all right, thanks.
Okay, you're welcome.
See me again?
Thank
Kathy,
you.
Kathy, when were you here? What was the date?
November 14th?
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, yeah.
The concern was the truck traffic, right?
Yeah.
Your biggest concern was truck traffic, I think.
Limiting, yeah, the one
Commented
where it
that
limits the
Mountain Way is limited.
4-ton trucks.
Yeah, I mean, we have numerous roads, in the borough that are limited by.
Yeah, right, but Mountain Way was one, and that's
Yeah.
why we thought
Yeah.
we didn't have to address it, but.
Yeah, they don't go maybe from Speedwell to Hillview, but, we shouldn't have to do it from Rosedale, but it doesn't hurt to do it,
Right.
so whatever, so we take care of that.
Okay.
So, yeah, there's a different council now, so I'm glad you came back, helpful.
Okay,
Thank you.
great, thanks.
Thank you, Kathy.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Hi, Kathy Peterson, 19 Kathleen Place. I'm here today to talk about the Watton Brook and the recent flood maps that were redrawn. As a resident on Kathleen Place, and one of my neighbors is here as well, we are in the flood zone. And I received a letter from the borough, thank you for advising us that the flood maps have recently been redrawn and are to be finalized. I will say that barring receiving this letter, there is no way that any of the residents would have been aware of the status of the flood maps, which have been looking to be redrawn for the last, 6 to 7 years. So, the borough included the press release from the county of Morris County. We also would not have received this, so I'm just stating that other than the borough, residents are not communicated with at all about the status of their home being in a flood zone. I was actually shocked
That's on
to see.
purpose, Kathy.
Excuse me?
That's on purpose.
What does that mean?
You not being notified by anybody else is probably on purpose. By FEMA or anybody like that.
They don't want people.
They don't want you to
appealing.
know.
Well, I understand that, but it also, and I don't mean to be disrespectful, but the opening of the letter said, as a courtesy to our residents. I see it a little differently. I don't see it necessarily as a courtesy that you're advising us. I think as our town
We're
borough,
taxpayers.
it's your responsibility to advise us about this. So that is just one point, and again, I don't mean to be disrespectful, but we would not know anything was changed. The New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection doesn't contact us, FEMA doesn't contact us. So I would hope that our town, which does have a flood zone in it, would be responsible for contacting the residents to let them know of any changes to the flood maps.
Well, there are towns that would not let their residents know, so,
And there are towns that are much more proactive, Boundbrook, others who
Well,
have
obviously
existing,
so, yes.
flooding.
Yep.
So those are just a couple of points I wanted to bring up. My other concern is being in a flood zone, I would assume that there are certain restrictions to what a home can or cannot do on their property because they're in a flood zone. And I would assume that's the planning board. When somebody wants to put in a pool in their yard, when they are 100% in the AE high risk, home property complete, that putting in a pool, taking up permeable space is probably not advisable. Yet, I have a neighbor who moved in recently within the last 5 years and put in a pool. It's none of my business, but again, my court, the cul-de-sac, it's all in a flood zone. So why take up however much space of permeable space by putting in a pool? And I would assume the planning board would have looked at that and said, no, you can't do that because.
I don't think it came to the planning board, what house, where is it?
Well, I'm not gonna announce it here, but it's on Kathleen Place, so.
Nothing came in front of the planning.
Yeah, a pool typically wouldn't come to the
Yeah, it
planning
doesn't
board,
come down.
unless there was,
Well,
unless there
doesn't
was,
somebody have to have a permit to put a pool in?
They got a permit, but it wouldn't have to necessarily come to a board to get a permit for that, so.
that would be
It's not a
construction
permit.
office.
Yeah, the construction office.
So, Bill, would they need some kind of,
It would go from the construction office, it wouldn't have to go through a board unless there was some sort of variance or something like that that they would need. It just gets a regular
Okay.
permit.
All right, I don't know, I'm not, it's just was surprising to me to find out. So that led me to the concern of the development that's occurring, future development that will be occurring on Route 53, which I've been trying to look at the maps, I'm looking at the maps, and the, south side of 53, or where the future development is going to occur. The way I look at the flood maps is, that is all high-risk AE flood zone along the waterway. And there's nothing that I can do about that, but I know that there is future development, and I'm just hoping that any future development that occurs will keep into consideration the downstream of the water flow. So if we do have that 100-year flood, what's going to happen to the properties that are downstream? It's a very narrow brook. Which puts us in, I was shocked to find out a high-risk flood zone. I've never had flooding, but I don't wanna find out after living there for 22 years and then development occurs up on Route 53 and then all of a sudden my house gets inundated.
So
I'm
that,
wondering whose responsibility that is to maintain that the downstream homes, that now there's 25 homes in Morris Plains, do not end up getting flooded after all these
so
years
the
when they
water
haven't.
from there is gonna come downstream, and that's already been an approved project, and with DEP approvals and everything else, I think we just went over with the developer with the new flood maps. Maybe you
Correct.
can explain that a little bit, but
Plus-
that's an approved project, as already, and the DEP required them to raise up their property 4 or 7 feet, I forget now what it was, but that's all been approved, so as far as the development that goes there, it's gonna follow the rules that it was approved on. So maybe you can expand on the,
Well, the only thing to add is that development also includes, stormwater management facilities, which are under the state statutes for controlling the rate of stormwater and the volume of stormwater. So they are releasing no more stormwater than occurs pre-development.
per DEP rules.
Correct.
Right. So, that's part of an affordable housing settlement, and again, it was in a flood zone, but the powers that be up in the state, they didn't care about that. It was on a contaminated site, and they didn't care about that as well. It was cleaned up and then raised in order to put that volume and density of homes, just because of affordable housing over there too.
And the Watnon Brook, I have not been able to get an answer of this from the New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection nor FEMA. Who is responsible for, such as, last week, a huge, I don't know how many feet tall it was, huge tree fell across the brook.
Yep.
It's not on my property, it's on, I guess, the church's property, and it's down. Now that was very visible. I was able to call, I called Shade Tree Commission and they were
Yeah.
advised and they already told me it's being taken care of.
Yeah.
However, what about the places that aren't so visible?
So that
Whose
is,
responsibility is maintaining the clear path of the water to flow down the brook as it goes down to Central Avenue and beyond?
So just, with that tree, I was out there, and that's, part of that tree is on, private property over there as well. But we've talked about it, they're gonna clean that up. It's hard to get something in there right now, but we're gonna take care of the tree down the road. We're also doing a stream cleanup, April 5th. You'll see something probably go out tomorrow in the email alert about a stream cleanup, the initiative that we've taken on, to clean up some of that dead wood and debris and whatnot, in that section from Grannis over to, Central Avenue, where it's pretty bad back there as well. But we do monitor that. Bill can tell you probably who exactly is in charge of that or responsible for that, but we do maintain, things that go in the brook there periodically, yeah. So, but there'll be a large cleanup, coming up here in April.
I think it was in last week's email as well.
Okay. Good idea.
Okay.
Bill, do you wanna expand a little bit, on this?
No, the property owners are responsible for any trees that fall in the brook, et cetera, so. So it's
It
self-pleasing.
depends on where it lands.
That's right.
Right, because it is, I mean, you could say, I don't believe it's I believe it's on the church property, I don't know, but that tree is, this is the bank of the brook?
Yeah. I
That
was out
tree is
there.
on the bank of the brook.
Yep.
So I don't know that anybody owns the brook, and I don't know if they own the bank of the brook.
Where it lands, is a private property on that island, so.
Interesting.
The person's property expands out that far.
Really? It landed on that island. Who doesn't
Yeah.
own that island? Is that
A resident over there owns that.
not the church, though? All right, well, I just wanted to state my piece, and again, just please understand that there is no communication to residents by anybody else other than the town on anything that affects the flood zone.
And
So-
Kathy, anytime that anything does come across either my desk or Bill's, about this, we will let you know. I still have your number right on the side of my bulletin board, so I have your contacts and I know where you live, but
Haven't been
I
here
will
in years,
certainly.
have I?
I will certainly, pass on any information that we have. I don't know, Bill, do you have an update on the maps or?
So right now, the FEMA and DEP are reviewing the feedback that they got from the 39 municipalities in Morris County. And they plan to have community outreach meetings sometime this spring, and which we will be advised of. So far, we haven't had any information about that. But we'll
So
let-
since that last meeting, there's been no communications with you?
No, that's what they said that was gonna happen.
Right.
They were gonna be reviewing all the feedback they got, reviewing the maps again, maybe some more studies, and then have community outreach meetings to let us know the results of those findings.
And this letter and all that, the response came from the first meeting that they, I think Nancy and Bill were out on, was at that meeting, so that's where that letter came out of, to inform you. And that was the first we've seen, heard of anything as well.
All right, thank you for your
Mr.
time.
Mayor, we're also expecting, in the next couple of weeks, we've been working on I also am head of the emergency management for the borough. Within the next couple of weeks, we're gonna see, we did a project with Tetra Tech several years ago, the county's hazard mitigation plan is being revisited with Tidal Basin this year. So there's gonna be something coming out on our website within the next couple of weeks. It's gonna be part of our report this evening, but I'll share it now. We're gonna post something to the borough website that allows residents to comment. The mayor's, we're big on the train station and the Wanton Brook and Johnson Road that we see some flooding issues. The hazard mitigation isn't just about stormwater and flooding, it's, earthquakes and other type of prevention. So there's gonna be opportunity for you all to comment on that too. It'll go on our Facebook page and the borough website, so we'll be sharing that. Hopefully, they told us the last county OA meeting, which was just this week, that it should be going out in the next couple of weeks.
When was that last update? A couple of years they do this?
Yeah, it's every 3 years, I think we've been doing it. This comes out again, and we'll make sure, know the rate alerts and whatever, the public has the opportunity to comment their concerns. And, we've listed a bunch of things that are apparent to us, but, we appreciate the residents sharing their feedback as well.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
You can't come without saying something.
Well, no, Kathy and I just have some additional, comments. Cherylan Davies, 23 Kathleen Place. So Kathy was talking a lot about whose responsibility is it, right? So, we've had trees come down, we've had storm drains lifted, DP's come, fixed it, you know, it was after Hurricane Sandy. But since then, I see a consistent every year, deterioration of the walls, of the stream walls. We are continually, in the back of our yard, we're constantly, rebuilding, rocks. We're planting, whatever, like ornamental grasses to maintain and not lose more and more property. If you come into my backyard, and I don't know if it was
We visited
you came into
one
my,
after the
after one of the
storms,
storms,
right.
you can see my part of my backyard is actually caving, from that. So who or what can I do about that? But it's also just along the whole creek. Years ago, I don't know how many years ago, I've been there 20 years, the drain across the creek from us, so they came and built a stone wall around it. And when they built the stone wall, they kind of put this weird wall jetting into the creek. I never really understood the purpose of that because the water just hits it and goes around it anyway. The drain water was here and the water, and then I'm sure there was an engineering reason for it. I don't know what it was, but that wall has since been washed away. So who's responsible for just maintaining the integrity of the creek and also of our property? Because it's just washing away.
So, Bill,
It's the,
you're
it's,
homeowner.
it's the
Yeah.
homeowner, you own the property, you own the brook, you don't own the rights to the water, but you own the land under the brook, you own the banks of the brook, and so that's the property owner's responsibility.
Okay, so I'm gonna build on that. So as a property owner, I can, I have the right then to blow my leaves into that creek, dump my grass into that
I'm
creek?
not saying that.
I don't, cause I get very angry when
Said-
people do.
There's the riparian rights that go with the waterway, which means you can't
Okay.
impede it, you have to let the water flow, you don't own the water, the state owns the water. So, but the land is yours, so any erosion or what, that's you to maintain.
Okay.
That's just the way it is.
Okay, well, that's fine. You talked about the raised property, raising it 4 to 7 feet. You know, we have this plan in place, but you can guarantee that no additional water than regular normal storm runoff will come down the creek.
Well, I can't guarantee it, but the engineers that designed the system have certified that it meets all the state standards and that there's no increase in volume and runoff from
So
from
let's
that
hope it's
development.
not the same people that designed the ineffective retention basin or detention basin, whatever it was called, before it was fixed. Okay, thank you.
So just another thing, just on top of that, I'm working with 6 other towns, so it's Morris Township, Morristown, Florham Park, East Hanover, and Hanover Township, on a flood remediation. They've surveyed the brook, Whippany River, the banks, the depth, all that sort of thing. We've gotten federal money, through Mikey Sherrill's office, congressional office, to start some of cleaning out the streams, digging them out for capacity. Because they found that where a stream, I'll say, I don't remember exactly, 100 years ago was 18 inches, now it's 3 inches, okay? So the silt and sediment and everything else that's there is no capacity. So they've started, in East Hanover and behind the PC Richards to try to open some of that stuff up and, de-snag it, repair the banks, and put some of the depth back into some of these streams. They're working backwards, okay, and eventually it will get to here, but it's gonna take years and tens of millions of dollars to get here, okay? But this is initiated initiative that was started and, hasn't been done for 100 years. And nobody's taken this initiative on, and the towns around here, because it affects residents in all of our towns, have taken this on to try to alleviate some of this problem. I can tell you another thing, we had a DEP permit to dredge the pond over there on Hanover Avenue, at the end of Maple, okay, there's that detention basin or pond that's over there that the streams flow into. And we didn't have the money to dredge it, but we put the permits in place. The permits ran out, and then the DEP will not reissue the permits to continue that work. There's a lot of bureaucracy and red tape when you start talking about these streams and digging and, you know, but it has to be done because it's affecting residents in every town just about, right? So if it backs up down by Route 280, eventually it's gonna back up here, right? Because it has nowhere to go. Some of the underpasses that the Whitney River goes under, Route 24 and whatnot, where it used to be 6 feet of clearance, now you can't even get under there. That's how much the silt buildup is, so everything has to go around. So it's a big problem. It is a big problem. And, but there's initiatives out there that have taken, you know, some steps to kind of alleviate some of these issues. So we want the water to get downstream.
Mayor, what we do with Whatnot Pond, aren't we removing silt every year?
No, we don't remove silt. That's just the vegetation that's there. So it's the leaves, the sticks, all that kind of buildup, not the silt.
But doesn't that help?
Oh, absolutely, it does, yeah. So we do that every year, Watlong Pond and Community Park Pond, but that doesn't really help you at all, but, we take all the vegetation out of there every year, the leaves.
But we
the
don't need a
sticks.
permit from the DEP to do
No.
that.
Nope.
What if, can we do that over at the community, garden pond thing? Can we do that
If you
there?
go there, you could walk across it, so.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's.
I've had, Collier's Engineering is supposed to come out and do a sample over there to see if it's vegetation or silt. They're supposed to do a test over there.
If it's vegetation, we can,
If it's vegetation, you can take care of it, right, Bill?
That's right.
So vegetation.
I'm
you can-
following you.
Yeah, so vegetation you can take care of, but if it's silt, you know, you're limited. Yeah,
okay.
Get your permit.
believe it or not.
Nancy, a little history there, the county did that as part of the county services. Then like, what, 15 years ago? They wanted
The
to save
mosquito
taxes
commission.
and they cut the, and they cut,
Mosquito
and they
commission
cut that.
used to do it.
They would come there with literally a machine that was like, the boom was 50 foot high.
Just had a
Long
long
reach, and they would just scrape that silt off the bottom.
Where?
At Whatnot, and at the municipal toilet.
What about, community garden too? The community garden?
No, I don't think
pond?
they did that.
Okay. All right.
So there's initiatives, it's just,
But since then, the borough has done aeration and, like I told you, if you guys, that boat they use, it, you have a chitty chitty bang bang movie, you guys don't see it, it's just.
And we're actually-
It's a homemade jobber, it's just great, it dumps into our loader, and then, you know, DPW takes it away, again, DPW, God bless them.
but that happens, I mean, we approved it at the last meeting or whatever, so
Yeah.
we're just waiting for them to come.
It's not cheap, but it's worth it.
Yeah, no, we have to do it because it's just capacity, that's what it is, it's capacity.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Cherylan.
Anybody else?
Oh, your glasses. Oh, thank you.
You know, Mayor,
See you.
hearing the testimony tonight, I just feel better that we're doing it, because every inch you take out helps downstream, with Kathleen and everything, so. But we can't do too much more without major DEP, and it's not gonna happen.
See nobody else? I close the public portion. Move on to reports of committees. Mr. Cortese, or I'm sorry, Ms. Verga, Finance.
Okay. Last week I attended the Morris Plains Library Association meeting where I learned about the library's budget. I asked a lot of questions about their budget and their services. I learned that the library pays to make apps available for our residents that include more than just access to books and written materials. For example, they do have the Libby app for ebooks, audiobooks, and magazines. They have a genealogy app. They have a kids app for picture books and interactive books. They have a language learning app. So if you don't want to use your, ones on your Google Play, you can do that. And they have an app that allows you to research stock options and investments. The board mentioned that they are interested in further collaborating with Morris Plains organizations to offer enhancement and educational opportunities for residents. So I shared that information with several organizations in town, like the Municipal Alliance, because they have kids there after school. There's opportunities definitely with a captive audience there to present some after-school programs and things like that for those kids. And there's other opportunities with collaborating with other groups. The library budget relies on donations from the general public. The online library system alone costs $14,000 a year to subscribe to, and that does not include the delivery fees for the books that are sent from other towns to Morris Plains for us to pick up. The apps also have a cost. So the annual shredding event is on April 26th. That's a big fundraiser for them. It's also Earth Day. Please promote this event and also consider donations all year long to the Library Association. They accept Venmo at Morris Plains-Library. And let's see. That's good enough on the library. Oh, if you have any additional questions, the library's director is Sheila Jane. The clerk's office, they have a new employee that's currently being trained on animal licensing and parking permits, and they're continuing to work on farmers market permits and licensing, financial disclosures, which we'll all be getting soon. And who else gets that besides council in there?
Anybody on a board or commission or anything, so.
Okay, so that's a big project though.
Yeah.
And they're preparing for their primary elections and additional OPA requests, always ongoing. I'm working under the clerk's office, not under them, but with them. I started when we had 3 new council members this year to figure out what we need to do to onboard new council members. There's really not a official guidebook for someone new coming in for how to learn what you need to know to be a council member. So I started putting stuff together for them, and then I decided I'm gonna put that into a longer term project where I can help with what all the council members should do to onboard, and then for each department. So I'm gonna ask you all to help me with that. I'm just putting together what I know and have been exposed to, and I would ask that you also add, and mayor as well, and even the department heads, if you have things that you know would be helpful for us to know or be exposed to, such as job descriptions under their department that they should have in hand when they come on board, because it just would make their jobs easier. So I'll be working on that with all of your help, I hope. Website, the borough website was updated to link to the Downtown Morris Plains Business Directory. If you go in the search bar on our website and put in Business Directory, you will get a link to Downtown Morris Plains, or you can go directly to their website and get that beautiful new directory of our Morris Plains businesses. You also saw on the consent agenda approval of Agile Websites contract, so just so you know what that is. We have a webmaster who is paid to do content updates to our website and simple things like announcements, calendar changes, other minor edits. That is a kind of a plug and play role that doesn't take a lot of development experience. But when we want to do structural changes to our website, like add new processes, new functionality, things like online payment, a new online form, anything that requires a development, which is like programming expertise, we need to have a separate pocket of money for that, so that we contracted with this group called Agile Websites, which is actually our webmaster who has that side business. But it doesn't have to be that way. It's just that was the opportunity we had at the time. So that's how those 2 roles are different, just so you know. Plains Talk, I met with Michelle Diamond, the editor of the Plains Talk. She gave me an overview of her process that she follows when she creates a new issue every quarter. Just so you know, the deadline for the May issue is April 18th. And the one thing she asked that I mention is that she would welcome any photographs from borough events that you happen to attend. You can send them to her. I think she is editor at Plains Talk, or for the Plains.
I'd have to look at it.
Plains Talk at morrisplainsborough.org. So she's always looking for nice photos, especially if they're very good, crisp quality for that publication. And that's it.
Yeah, the photos have really slowed down quite a bit, so if any council people are at events or public or whatever, just funnel everything to her, because she's always looking for photos of all kind of stuff, so.
Great.
Thank you, Nancy.
Yep.
Public safety, Tyler.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mayor. All right. We received some new schemes from the Musial Group this week for both plans. The new schemes for the current building that we have here, keeping the police and fire department under the same roof, versus we got 2 new plans for the new location, which now would be next to the teen center, so we would be able to keep the teen center in place. The next step for that would be to meet with the conceptual plans committee to essentially talk next steps and trying to make a decision. Also spoke with Chief Koroski, got his capital budget in order, so we can do that at the finance budget meeting next week. I'm gonna speak with Mr. Rotando. We should have a traffic committee meeting coming up soon. We did get a draft of a complete and green streets policy by Jim Hunt, so we'll be working over that with the council and with the traffic committee and hoping to get some form of that into a resolution in the near future. I think that would be a really great improvement for the town and absolutely keep not only drivers, but bicyclists, people walking, people on scooters, essentially keeps everyone safer. So feeling excited about that. The 2 new officers, we're hoping to be sworn in at the next meeting on April 3rd. One of the 2 has passed the firearms training test. From what I understand, that's essentially the biggest step of the academy. So we've got 1 there and 1 that hopefully should be passing that soon. On the fire prevention front, as mentioned, on April 3rd, Chris is going to be at the multi-county fire prevention meeting. I also got the report for February. I'll very quickly go through this just so people do have an idea of the type of inspections he's doing and the things he does. He did 107 inspections in February, 8 life hazards, 1 quarterly life hazard, 12 non-life hazards, 4 complaints, 2 CO inspections, 8 fire alarm pump inspections, 1 food truck after hours, 1 fire alarm maintenance, 2 Oprah reports, 1 overdue notice of violation, 15 permit inspections. Very broad range there, but he is very busy and, helping generate some revenue for the town. That's fantastic. On the court system, for people that don't know, the court meets virtually every Tuesday at 9:30 a.m. In-person appearances are by request, and typically they meet about once a month. Usually that's DUI cases that are a little bit more in-depth like that. For the fire department, they are answering calls as always. They are over 100 calls already this year. I asked Chief how that compared to past years, and he said, well, it's definitely more. So they are out and they are busy, and they've got some really neat fire trucks, as mentioned. There's going to be a special detail out tomorrow night. They are co-sponsoring, hosting the Easter Bunny Egg Hunt on April 12th. That should be really fun. I know I've taken my children in the past, and we've had a great time. The Chief 2 car is in the shop, so we're giving some quotes in order to get that fixed and get that back on the road as soon as possible. Some of the gentlemen from the fire department marched in the St. Patrick's Day Morristown Parade on Saturday. I was actually there on the float with the Morris Plains Rotary. It was a really fun day. My kids were there. We all had fun. Just a great day. A huge turnout this year. So it was really a fun day. Just great to, again, see everyone out there representing Morris Plains and all the towns around us. A couple of the fire department guys did a pump training. There also is going to be a live fire burn in Bergenfield coming up on April 8th. Chief seemed excited because he said it's not a fake one. They're using hay and wood, which is more realistic than when they do it the propane way. So it's a really live action training for all the guys. So I think that's really great. And he spoke to the salesman for the mini pumper, and it's looking like in about 11 to 12 months we should have that. So about next February, March, we should be getting the mini pumper in. And as Chief K said, we are going to be gearing up as well for the local emergency planning committee, which I'm excited to learn more about. And with that being said, I'll turn it over to the man himself.
Good evening. Just a couple events coming up for us. Prescription drug take back. You can put that on your calendar for Saturday, April 26th, down at the Stop and Shop, partnering again with the DEA and the Morris County Prosecutor's Office. Again, April 26th, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Get rid of those unwanted or unneeded prescription medications. Our CPR training team, and it's a big thought of mine that we need to train all of our community to be first responders, especially in situations when our response time is great, usually under 2 minutes, but it's nice to have capable hands on scene when something bad happens. So something bad goes wrong. Baseball season is right around the corner. We've trained 4 baseball coaches, Little League coaches in CPR last week. We're training another 8 next week, and probably an additional 8 or even more, probably right around the first week in April. We finished our last annual report to the state. They were delayed getting up and available for us to process. So that came out March 1st. We promptly submitted that. That's for use of force and vehicle pursuits for the year of 2024. We had one use of force. So when officer apply any type of force to take a subject into custody. One of those, which is great for our preceding year, having 2, and the prior year that was 5. So our officers definitely use the verbal judo tactics and time to control situations rather than resorting to use of force. And due to the nature of what's going on in society and property crimes, we had 3 vehicle pursuits last year, all of them ending without major incidents. So that's my report. Unless there's any comments, questions, or concerns.
So both of them are over the hump, right? Both of the.
We do have both recruits over the firearms hurdle now, yes.
Oh, we did get it the same?
Yes,
Oh,
we
okay,
have.
perfect, okay, great, so, excellent, my mistake.
And so, I'd just like to just kind of piggyback on Tyler's report about Sarah Thornberry has left us. Her last day was, I don't know when her last day officially was, but she's been out. But I'd like to tell her, thank her for all the years of dedication to the borough, and she'll certainly be missed, and we wish her best of luck moving forward. The office will be covered by the county a couple days a week, and Sarah actually will be coming in at nights for another couple nights a week. So we appreciate that and her dedication again going forward with the borough. So thank you very much. Public Works, Mr. Bruhn.
So Beautification Committee had their first meeting. I was away, I was not able to attend. I did speak to the chairwoman, Nancy Critchley, about their budget for 2025. And I just want to make a statement that they do a fantastic job with a very modest budget, so they kept it the same. We're very blessed to have such a dedicated committee that keeps our town looking beautiful with flowers and plants, so I appreciate all their efforts. DPW continually works on their town vehicles, picks up garbage. I did meet with our superintendent and assistant superintendent, and they did make a comment that Simon's Park is probably the worst park in terms of garbage. Water bottles, beer bottles, food containers, so they spend quite a bit of time over there. I play soccer on Sundays, I do my best picking up stuff, so I know it's a very highly used park, but there's not a lot of use of garbage cans, it's all over the parks. They helped set up for bingo night for the community center, painted some annex in the basement. Did some brush pickup. They did haul away some snow. They think there's snow left over at the from the tennis courts at Community Park. Repaired the soccer field fencing. Cut down some trees that were dead, ash trees behind the backstop at Community Park. They patched some potholes. I know they did some efforts over on Stiles that was getting pretty sketchy over there, but they did the best they could to fill some of those up. Flushed some of the basins, get rid of some of the leaves and sticks that collected over the winter. And they sent a member over to the township to help sweep for their 5K that they had. Trimmed some trees, cleaned the leaves behind the police station, Borough Hall, get some spring cleaning going. And they ran the generators and cleaned the sewers 4 times this period. So we appreciate all their efforts every month. That's all I have.
That sweeper that they give to Morris Township, that's a shared service that,
Yes.
That they have at Morris Township. A great relationship over there with them, so thank you.
So,
Right.
Thank you, Mayor.
sorry, Bill, real quick, Art, I failed to mention, Mr. Clory over there, was concerned about some of the garbage that I believe is on Speedwell. Is that correct?
In front of the Presbyterian Church.
In front of the Presbyterian
Overflowing for a
Church.
couple weeks.
He says it's been overflowing for a couple weeks, and I didn't know if that was in DPW.
No, that's garbage.
So the garbage can in front of the church.
What is
Yeah,
that?
on Speedwell.
The clerk's office will take care of that.
I called them on Wednesday, they said they'd take care of it, and then.
Yeah, so our DPW can empty it, but we'll make sure we get the garbage guys on board, and make sure that they empty it.
Excellent.
So have them just do it tomorrow, because they'll come by on Monday.
Sorry, Bill.
It's all right. Thank you, Mayor. I have a few quick updates. The Route 53 sidewalk project is out to bid right now. The bids are coming in on April 10th. So we hope to get a favorable low bid, and we'll be proceeding with the construction shortly thereafter.
Great.
Next is the 2025 Capital Road projects is in design. We're making good progress on that. That's going to be out to bid later this spring and for construction this summer. Next is the Stiles Avenue project. We're designing that as well, and that's for 2026 construction, as you may know. The last item, next to the last item rather, is the bike route project over by Stop and Shop at 225 Littleton Road. We had a pre-construction meeting for that, and that's gonna be getting started in about a month. With the building renovations is the most you'll see. Basically, they're gonna tear the entire facade off the building down to the steel skeleton and redo that, and then they'll be moving their whole staff from the Route 10 building over to there, and then the rest of that big project will eventually get going. And the last item is the Tabor Road warehouses. They finally are completely done. They received their certificates of occupancy as of today. Don't know who's going in. There's no sign. There's nobody's name on the sign at the facility, but they're ready for occupancy. And that's all I have.
Thank you, sir. Moving on to public buildings and grounds, Mr. Cortese.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll start off with the shade tree. The first week they had 3 tree memos, and they're already taking care of 2 of them. On March 10th, a big pine tree, I don't know if you guys saw it, fell on Watanag, the pond where the kids skate. The DPW could not do that. It had to be, the forester determined it had the size and everything, also because of the water. So they took care of that. On the arborist note, I'm waiting for 2 bids. We should have them by next meeting. Quotes, yes. I asked them to do either per hour or per thing, so just to keep the 2 quotes consistent, so we can look at apples to apples and orange to oranges. I met with, we had a conversation with Ryden and the trail grant that Joan had started, and also Carl Klinger from I think the county, right? Roseanne.
The Parks Commission.
And we got a lot done, and I know you have some homework to do and you have time. So keep that thing, it's moving,
Yeah.
I'm just letting you guys know. Since the mayor was away, I had to go do some ribbon cutting, and Nancy came with me to the grand opening of Vision Loss Alliance of New Jersey. It's a wonderful organization that helps blind people. I had an uncle that was blind, and every time I hear the word, it touches my heart. And the great things that they do for people like that, and it was just good to see it. Here in Morris Plains, it's a nonprofit group, and can't fit better than a community of caring, something like that. Just fits right in, just like apple pie and ice cream. We had 4 meetings at the pool with DPW and Rec. Thank you. What you guys saw, you approved the valve. Really big expense, almost $5,000–6,000. That's the process of elimination. I'm gonna fill you in real quick. I don't want to take a lot of your time. I don't want to go home. But the valve has to work so the water from the pool doesn't leak out. Once you put the valve in and we close it, and the pool holds the water, that means the valve is good. That doesn't mean that the pipes are good. We're gonna just keep going and keep investigating, and hopefully we can get the culprit and find out what's going on. We've also received bids on the baby pool. We're getting more to fix it.
But the valve doesn't shut all the way currently, so we don't know whether that's the entire problem or whether.
I pray to God that it is.
We're all praying.
Yeah, I just had a water bill for last year.
35,000.
37.
37,000. So when I see that number, I can't tell you how powerless and upset I get. But it's a service. There's no pool in America that makes money, but 37,000 in water can't be it. It is an old pool. We'll have to cross that bridge later. But hopefully this valve. I mean, just think about it. The valve wasn't shut off, and the pool drained itself. So that's pretty bad. And also, I want to welcome. I thank you for hiring the recreation director. She's going to start on March 26th, and definitely in need for that. That's about it, Mayor. Right? Did I cover everything? I think I got more, but.
So is registration still gonna open on the 21st for some of the programs, do you know?
Jerry's here from Rec. Can you? No,
We'll
because
see.
they're starting on the 26th, right?
We gotta get her up and on board. It's delayed, so we see how it works out.
21st, okay.
Didn't we
They,
post it?
they can register online
Oh.
and pay online as it is today,
Okay,
but people don't wanna pay online because they have to pay the fee.
right.
Service.
And, so we were gonna put out that they could drop the check in the mailbox, but I have to run that by Hannah first to do that.
And in the meantime, recreation, whatever, they've been getting all the mails and bringing it here to the clerk's office and whatever they can. That was Jerry Sitman, our rec chair, for the record. That's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you. So just, piggyback on both the projects that, Bill spoke about and then, Sal spoke about were, both funded by grants, one from the DOT and one from the county. So, some walking trails and, nice calm areas, moving forward. Public health, sanitation and sewers, Mr. Ivey.
Thank you, Mayor. So for Teen Center, they're continuing to have great events for our youth. They had an all-grade event at New Jersey Battle Zones, which was a great success. About 60 kids showed up, so that's a great turnout. They have a 6th grade event coming up next. For Municipal Alliance, Family Fitness event will be on April 5th, and the registration for that is currently open. Was able to attend my first Board of Health meeting, which was a really good experience. What they want to pass on was the importance of staying on schedule for your vaccines. There are some cases of measles popping up around New Jersey. It's not as great as some other places in the country, but if you are traveling, or you're at high risk, or you're a young child, make sure you have your MMR, that's your measles, mumps, rubella vaccine. So I don't have to preach to the choir on that, I hope. Moving on to, let's see, for recycling, Mayor, the contract is still with the CFO, so she didn't have anything to get back to me yet, but I'll keep staying on them about that. And then in light of spring cleaning, spirit of spring cleaning, Clean Communities, I'll be meeting with them to discuss the strategy on how to best deploy the grant that we have from New Jersey. We have some left over from last year, in addition to what we received for this year. So in addition to doing something like the litter cleanups that are pretty standard throughout the year, hopefully it's something that we can provide to the residents directly. So hopefully next meeting I'll have some ideas on that.
Can we use it for silt removal?
Only if you have a permit.
Real fast.
Oh, no permit.
Oh, thank you, Mike. Ordinance of public utilities, Mr. Houston.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just actually a note on the public health, I actually got myself tested. I'm 45 years old and went and got the appropriate exam the other day. So, and that was our prior liaison reminded me of that joke. So I went ahead and did that, and happy to report everything's all good.
Well, that's fantastic.
Yes.
No, thanks for that information. That
I'm
helps
just-
tidbit.
my point is that it's important to get those things done. So.
Think about music.
Anyway.
Oh my God.
No.
You gotta go to a Board of Health meeting.
All right.
They'll be proud of you.
Yeah.
All right.
Sure that's on the record.
Yeah. So just affordable housing update. There's really nothing different from last time. So we're still waiting for some decisions to come down, and then the Affordable Housing Committee is going to meet and discuss
As the clock ticks.
as the clock ticks.
So I have an answer in at least 2 meetings by the 30th, and running out of time.
Yep.
Running out of time.
On ordinance review, so I did meet with my ordinance committee. I have put some drafts of some modifications in front of the council. So they are going to review it, hopefully provide me with some feedback, and then we'll see what we can do to make some updates. I will add the ordinance that you brought up today to our next round of review, so appreciate you bringing that up, so thank you for that. Construction office update, in February, the annex office collected $9,648 in permit fees. There were 55 certificates issued and 42 permits pulled. The certificates were for construction administration. 53 of those were for alterations to existing properties. 1 was for an addition, 1 was for a demolition. We had no properties sold, no new properties purchased in February 25. And the 7 part-time inspectors completed 119 inspections last month. 25 building inspections, 31 electrical inspections, 56 plumbing inspections, and 7 fire inspections. The clerks over there are getting trained on the records management software, which is Spatial Data Logic. It's ongoing as of now, and we're still targeting April 1st go live to implement that software. So that is ongoing. Planning board update. So planning board had their meeting this past Monday, March 17th at 7:30. We memorialized one application for crossings at 10, otherwise known as the Waker property, which Mr. Ryden spoke about earlier. We reviewed and approved another application for 109 Mountain Way. The next meeting is going to be Monday, April 19th, 7:30 p.m. here in this room. We do plan on having a master plan review committee meeting sometime in April, but we'll keep you updated on when that's going to be. Zoning Board of Adjustment update. The meeting that was supposed to happen this coming Monday, March 24th, has been canceled because there are no current applications to review. So they will meet Monday, April 21st at 7:30 here in this room. Checklist Committee. So Checklist Committee had our second meeting on Friday, March 7th via Google Meet. We reviewed our own checklist, compared them to other municipalities that have more concise and condensed versions. One of the things that we are discussing is online fillable PDFs. So Nancy, that's going to be the efforts you guys are making on the website that will help some of that when we look at that. So,
Yeah, Melissa.
yes, so that's great that you're doing that. Mr. Ryden here is preparing a draft update for us to review, which Mike Garavaglia, Chair of the Planning Board, and Dave Schultz, Chair of the Board of Adjustment, will then bring back to their respective boards for review before submitting a final draft to the council. And our next meeting is going to be Friday, March 4th via Google Meet. Let's see, SMCMUA update. So they're continuing to do work. The week of March 17th, they are doing water main installation on Hawthorne Avenue. They're doing service transfers between 35 and 57 Birch Drive at a rate of approximately 3 per day. They do have two important notices that customers will be notified in advance before temporary water interruption during service line transfers. Please look out for the paper tags or door hangers. If they do not get to your service on the scheduled date, your property will be prioritized first during the next business or construction day. The other notice is customers should follow instructions to flush their service lines following service line transfers. So I've been through that, as Glenbrook was one of the first. Just pretty much follow the instructions and flush your water out, and that way you won't get any brown or dirty water or any of that stuff. So let's see. Just on some training notes. So today, along with two other planning board members, I attended a housing engagement forum. The panelists at the forum spoke about the different programs, financial options, and grants available to municipalities to offset some of the costs incurred when building housing. So I do look forward to discussing these options with the Affordable Housing Committee and with the council. Let's see. So next Wednesday, Nancy and I are actually attending a free film ready workshop in Carteret. It's workshops for municipal elected officials and those communities seeking to become film ready and host on-location filming. We'll receive training and guidance from industry professionals, from the NJM PTVC commissioners and staff. We'll learn about the economic impact of hosting on-location filming, ordinances, permitting, opportunities for small businesses and the expanding infrastructure. And attending this workshop is the first of 6 steps to becoming a certified film ready New Jersey community. There's also a section that's called Film Ready Police and Fire, designed to educate and train police and fire chiefs in public safety and motion picture and entertainment safety. So, Chief, if you're interested in that, we can pass along the information.
Let me know.
Absolutely. Just some general comments here. Mr. Mayor, you going to talk about the Pinewood Derby that
My Pinewood Derby car crashed on the practice lap, so there was a track malfunction. They had to send safety safari out there, and I didn't qualify. But my wheels were dented, but it was a fun afternoon. It's always fun to do the Pinewood Derby.
And you had a great speech at the beginning there, so everybody liked that. Appreciate that. So great event.
Thank you. Yeah, it was fun. Kids have a good time. So
and Mr. Cortese was there as well, so we all attended, so it was great. And just two plugs here. So Morristown High School Theater is putting on the production of Les Miserables. This is set in 19th century Paris and follows Jean Valjean, a prisoner who has escaped hard time for stealing a loaf of bread. Boy tries to evade Javert, who's played by Morris Plains' own Jackson Miller. It also follows the story of Eponine Marius, who's played by Elliot Eck, Cosette, Gavroche, and the hilarious Thénardiers. It features songs such as One Day More and Do You Hear the People Sing? And the musical goes up tomorrow night at 7 p.m., Saturday at 2 p.m., and 7 p.m., and Sunday at 2 p.m., and tickets are still available, I believe. So we are going to see that, I think, tomorrow night. So looking forward to that. And then Thursday, April 3rd, and Friday, April 4th, both at 7 o'clock, the Borough School, 6th, 7th, and 8th graders are putting on their production of Alice in Wonderland Jr. It's a story of Alice, played by El Goyeneche, as she follows the White Rabbit, played by Carolyn Higgins, down the rabbit hole and meets characters such as the Cheshire Cat, the Mad Hatter, Tweedledee, Tweedledum, and the Queen. We're going to be teching the show this weekend. The students will be running all the lights and the sound, so come on out, support live theater and all the great kids and parents and teachers and staff that have been working really hard on this show.
April 3rd and 4th?
April 3rd and 4th, yeah, Thursday and Friday. So, and that's my report. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you. We have no introduction of ordinances, one on the second reading, Mr. Houston.
I, Councilmember Houston, read by title the ordinance entitled Ordinance number 4-2025, calendar year 2025, ordinance to exceed the municipal budget appropriation limits and to establish a cap bank, which ordinance was introduced and passed on first reading at a meeting held on March 6, 2025.
I announce the meeting is open for a public hearing on the ordinance. Seeing no one, I close the public hearing.
I, Councilmember Houston, state that the above ordinance, as read by title on second reading at this meeting, be adopted and finally passed.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Nancy. Roll call, please.
Mr. Cortese?
Yes.
Mr. Bruhn?
Yes.
Mr. Houston?
Yes.
Mr. Ivey?
Yes.
Mr. Pontier?
Yes.
Ms. Verga?
Yes.
This just allows the governing body to extend the exceed the 2% cap only if necessary in case of emergency. We do have no we don't have any resolutions, no unfinished business, we have no new business, we do have vouchers, Ms. Verga.
I move that vouchers from March 20th in the amount of $474,232.96 be approved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Cortese?
Yes.
Mr. Bruhn?
Yes.
Mr. Houston?
Yes.
Mr. Ivey?
Yes.
Mr. Pontier?
Yes.
Ms. Verga?
Yes.
And we do have a need for a second executive session, Mr. Clerk.
Resolution 2025 be resolved by the Council of the Borough of Morris Plains on the 20th day of March 2025. The Mayor and Borough Council shall meet in executive session from which the public shall be excluded to discuss matters as permitted pursuant to NJS 10:4-12, subsection 7 and 8. Just 7. The time when the matter is discussed pursuant to paragraph 1 hereof can be disclosed to the public is as soon as practicable after the final resolution of the aforesaid matters.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Bill, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, the ayes have it, we are in executive. I thank everybody for coming out.
Thanks,
We will
everyone. Have a great
We will be
night.
coming back in, for the closing of the meeting. I can't tell you exactly when that will be, but you're more than welcome to wait, if you want to. Thank you.